To scale from 1 million to 10 million, you have to develop your leadership muscles so that you can have other people come on board and those people run the processes that sell the product.
Welcome to the Bedros Keuilian Show.
How to make your first $1 million in business. What's up, friends? Welcome to the Bedros Keuilian Show. I'm Bedros Keuilian, and today's episode is about making your first $1 million in business. Now, it doesn't matter if you have a subscription business, a service-based business, or if you have a product-based business. What I'm going to teach you here today is exactly how to make $1 million in your business. Because if you can make $1 million, you can make 10 million. If you can make 10 million, then you can make 100 million. And if you're like, whoa, I don't know if that's true, it is. I'm going to teach you at the end of this episode the factor that helps you go from 1 to 10 million and from 10 to 100 million, because I've done it myself, right? And if a knucklehead like me can do it, you can do it too. So let's dive into the episode. Now, there are some ground rules that I want to share with you. Like I said, at the end, I was going to teach you how to scale from 1 to 10 and from 10 to 100 million, right? Like what it takes. And it's two specific things. I'm also going to teach you vision planning at the end of this episode. And the reason I want to teach you vision planning is because if you don't have the vision for where you want to go and how you want to get there, you're probably never going to get there. You're probably spinning your wheels. You're probably spending a lot of time doing busy work. You're spending money here, spending money there, trying to create a logo, trying to create a design. Shopify didn't work, whatever. This thing didn't work and the DMs didn't work, whatever, right? And at the end of the day, if you don't have a vision of how you're going to execute, then you're just wasting a lot of time. And you look back a few years later and you go, man, I spent a lot of money. I put a lot of time and effort in, and I don't have anything to show for it. I could have probably made more money working a day job. And so I want to teach you how to make your first million. Now, if we do things right, depending on the product, service, or whatever, right? Subscription, you might make anywhere from like 20% to as much as 50% of that as profit. And so we will go through this step by step. Now, there's one more thing I want to explain to you. In addition to the vision planning, which I'm going to teach at the end, how you're going to exactly execute on that vision plan, it is this, the golden rule. And the golden rule is this: you have to have a great product. The product has to deliver on the expectations that you set for the customer or the client. The product cannot be shit. In other words, you cannot promise a unicorn and deliver a donkey. If you do, you were screwed. I'd rather you promise a horse and deliver a unicorn, if you get what I'm saying, right? Exceed expectations. Don't go below the mark. And I see too many people doing that, because if you are constantly marketing a shitty, shoddy product that doesn't really deliver on the promise, then you're always going to have attrition problems. You're not going to be able to retain clients. And if you can't retain clients, they're not going to pay, stay, and refer. Remember, the goal is to get your customers and clients to pay, to love the product so much that they stay, and they're so evangelical about it that they refer others to it, because that is free marketing. Referral generation is free marketing, right? In Trulian, right, the wellness shot exceeded all of our expectations. We continue to make it better. 3.0 version is about to come out, by the way. Trulian Wellness Shot 3.0 is on its way late February of 2025. I can't tell you what's in it, but a great product is getting even better, right? And because of that, our model is this: we attain customers, we retain customers, and then we maximize on those customers. Because what ends up happening is you end up getting on the wellness shot, you like it so much, you're like, oh, let me check out their greens, let me check out their everyday fit. And before you know it, you're using 2, maybe 3 of the Trulian products, and it's because they work. They exceed expectations and they deliver on the promise. So as long as you have a great product and you can get clients to pay, stay, and refer, or to attain, retain, and maximize, right? AOV, average order value, then you're good to go. So with that said, let me break down some numbers for you, because remember, we talked about vision, right? If you don't know what $1 million looks like on a monthly basis, we got to start there. So if our goal is to make, let's say, $1 million in a year, and this doesn't mean that if you don't have a business right now, you just have some ideas swirling around in your head, don't for a moment think that in the next 12 months, you're going to make $1 million, right? I guess probability says there's a small chance that someone out there could do that, but it ain't going to happen like that. After a couple years, you might have $1 million year. This is for all of you out there that have been doing, 50, 100, 200, 300,000 a year for a few years now. And you're like, I just can't seem to reach $1 million. I'm going to teach you how to get there, because this is the stuff that I teach my Domination Year coaching clients. This is the stuff that we've used in Fit Body Bootcamp, in Truly supplements, in Fit Pro Tracker software, Fuel Hunt apparel, right? And I use this for all my coaching clients as well. And I do it in my own coaching business as well. So I'm going to be fully transparent on the numbers from my company and numbers from some of my coaching clients as well. So let's dive in. First of all, you should understand that $1 million breaks down to $83,333 a month, right? So if you stack 12 months of $83,333 a month, you got yourself $1 million. Well, what does that break down to on a weekly basis? That breaks down to about $21,000 a week, roughly, right? About $21,000 a week is what you need to generate to get to $1 million in a year. Well, what does that break down to a daily basis? About $2,900 a day is what you need to generate to get to $1 million in a year. So knowing those numbers is important for you, because that's like the GPS, the destination, right? People go, I want to be a millionaire, but they don't know exactly how many of their things they need to sell to hit what daily number or weekly number or monthly number to hit that annual number. Well, how the fuck are you going to get there? You're not, right? So first of all, understand your numbers. So here we go. I'm going to break this down, by the way, in business types, right? Because there are many types of businesses. Like I said, there's subscription businesses, service businesses, and product-based businesses. Subscription business could be something like, let's say, a Netflix, Spotify, whatever you pay money to on a monthly basis, software that you pay money to on a monthly basis. Maybe there's a community that you belong to, right, that you pay money to on a monthly basis. Anything that's like a subscription. It could be a service, I suppose. It could be a access to software. It could be access to information. Like, that's a cool thing, right? So we're going to talk about subscription first. So with that in mind, let's dive in. So let's say you have a subscription business, and I did some numbers for you. And let's say your subscription product is $29 a month. Then what you need is 2,874 paying customers in a year to get there, to get to $1 million. So if you got a $29 service, like a subscription service, you need 2,874 members, which is 240 members a month to get to $1 million a year. Now, if you're charging $99 a month for your subscription, then you only need 842 members in total to get to $1 million a year, which is 70 members a month, right? And you can take those 70 members in a month and you can divide it by 4 weeks. So 4, and now you know what you need to achieve per week, and you can divide that by 7. Now you know what you need to achieve per day in terms of sales. Now, if you've got a $299 subscription, think about this. My Legacy Tribe coaching program, right? Legacy Tribe coaching program is $299. By the way, we'll make sure we put the link in the description of the YouTube and the Spotify's and the iTunes for you. But if you want to do the Legacy Tribe coaching program, it's $299 a month. Well, for us to make $1 million, we need 279 members. And if we have 279 members in total, that is 23 members a month to get to $1 million, right? So I hope that kind of goes, that enlightens you. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're like, if some of you have this limiting belief, like, I can't do that, that's a lot of members, I'm not going to sit here and argue with you and plead the case that, you know, it's not, and try and fix your limiting beliefs and your weird association with money. And if you come up with this goofy excuse like, well, I don't know how to focus, or what if I don't have value to add to the world? Like, this is all based on the assumption that you're going to focus, you're going to do the work, you're going to be consistent with the work, you have value to add to the world, whether it's a subscription, a service, or a product. It's contingent upon the fact that you don't have any limiting beliefs. Like, if you're like, well, I don't know how I can do this, then you're not going to be able to do it. I promise you. Like Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're probably right. And so I'm telling you the facts, and I'm telling you right now, these are numbers that are not only true, but look at the world around you. Believe it or not, there's people making billions of dollars using models just like this. Look at Netflix, right? Look at Amazon Prime. Look at OnlyFans, right? I heard, I don't know if this is true, that the highest paid OnlyFans account is making something like $20 million a year on subscription. I don't know what those things are, $9 or $14 or $20 a month, but there you go. The value multiplied by The dollars compounded by the number of customers equals $20 million a year for that individual, right? So this happens everywhere all the time. So your limiting beliefs cannot be the factor because we just don't have the time, or I don't even have the desire to try and help you with that. I've done other episodes on how to overcome your limiting beliefs and all the weird shit and your association with money that's going to help you break through and lock in and focus and get this shit done. All right. So what if you have a service-based business? And you're like, Bedros, what do you mean a service-based business? Well, a service-based business could be consulting business, right? Maybe it's leadership consulting. Maybe it's sales consulting. Could be a coaching business, like a fitness and fat loss coaching business. It could be relationship coaching. Could be real estate coaching, how to be a real estate investor. Tony Stephan, one of my Domination Years coaching clients, he was a registered dietitian, built his business up, sold it, ended up going into full-on real estate investments, and he got so good at investing in real estate holdings like individual single-family homes and multifamily apartments. Now he teaches that. He's a real estate investment coach. He teaches what he does well, right? And so, or you could be a speaker. There's a lot of different professional services out there. Like you could be a public speaker. Like I get paid $50,000 to speak at events, right? So if I'm keynoting an event, I get paid 50 G's to speak. That's a service that I'm offering. So there's coaching services, relationship coaching, nutrition coaching, fitness coaching, mindset coaching, life coaching, all types of investment coaching, consulting, or speaking at events, right? These are all different professional services. And again, if you're like, well, I don't know how to charge $50,000, guess what? I used to speak for free. So if you don't have enough value yet in terms of what you're bringing to the table to charge, then you probably are going to go and speak at your local chamber of commerce, at the local Rotary Club, to the fire department, and you're going to talk to them about whatever, mindset, nutrition, fitness, investment, right? You're going to have to start somewhere and eventually keep ratcheting up and charge more until you are known. And one day you can charge 50,000, 100,000, 300,000, whatever you want, right? You got to understand something that, there's individuals that charge $1 million to speak at one event. So, sometimes it's lost on people when I tell them you could make one sale and make your $1 million for the year. You absolutely can. Because if you add so much value to the lives of others, right, you can make one sale and make your $1 million. I think Tony Robbins is like somewhere between $700,000 or $1 million to speak and keynote at your event. Like, there you go. Maybe The Rock is somewhere around $1 million to speak and keynote at your event, right? And so if you have the money and you pay them the $1 million, there's their $1 million. Now, again, it goes back to, well, I don't have the value or the skills or the belief in myself. You have to develop those things over time. This is for people who already have the product, the service, the subscription, the value to add to the world, but just don't know how to get there. I'm teaching you how. So again, going back to a consulting, coaching, speaking service, $1 million, one client. Boom, you're there, right? Or like my Domination Year coaching program, it's $100,000. So I need 10 clients in 1 year to make $1 million. I've never had less than like 25, 30 clients for this particular program for years now, right? And so if you're charging $25,000 for, let's say, a coaching program that's 6 or 12 months long, then you'll need 40 clients at $25,000. If you're charging $12,500, right? Got several coaching clients of mine who are doctors, and they do things like health optimization, hormone optimization, bone optimization, right? They'll charge 12 grand for 6 months of coaching and health optimization. And if they're doing that, charging $12,500, then they need 80 clients to make their $1 million in that year. And then if you're charging $6,250, right? Which is about what a health, fitness, nutrition coach might charge for 4 months, 6 months, hell, maybe 12 months of coaching a client, helping them get their results. Well, if you're charging $1,250, then you're going to need 160 clients to get to your $1 million. And it's cool to know these numbers because once you know them, then you're like, holy shit, man, I could achieve this. Hey guys, quick interruption to the Bedros Keuilian show. I took some time to go to the local juice stores here in town and I bought all these different ginger, turmeric, and wellness shots. Now they range anywhere from $3.69 all the way to $4.05. And to be honest with you, they all suck. Why? Because they do not have anywhere near the wonderful ingredients of the Keuilian wellness shot. First of all, to build your immune system and keep your immune system strong, Keuilian wellness shot is packed with vitamin C, vitamin D, and zinc. And also to help you fight off inflammation, it is packed with turmeric, ginger, and black pepper. And to keep you hydrated, Keuilian wellness shots have sodium, potassium, and magnesium. This is the ultimate morning supplement. Just take one packet, pour it in 4 ounces of water, and shoot it, and you're good to go. Best of all, $1.69 per packet instead of twice the price of those other inferior ones. I want you to get 50% off your first 30-day supply. So go to Keuilian.com, use my name Bedros, and you can get 50% off plus free shipping, a 30-day money-back guarantee, and $1 gets donated to Shriners Children's Hospital. Best of all, if you like the Keuilian wellness shots, and I know you will, like thousands of other people who are part of the Keuilian tribe, every month we'll send you a new supply at 20% off, free shipping. So go to Keuilian.com, use my name Bedros, and get your 50% discount code before it goes away. Back to the show. Like, it really is that simple. So now let's switch gears to a product-based business, right? A product-based business like apparel, like Fuel Hunt, the shirts that I wear all the time, right? Fuel Hunt shirts run about $40. They're made in the USA, top quality, feels amazing, and comes with a 100-day like it, love it, or you get your money back guarantee. Like, first of all, it's an incredible offer. Secondly, the value is super, super high. High quality, doesn't, fade out, doesn't shrink on you, compliments all the time, made in the USA, so the value is there, right? $40 a shirt. Well, at $40 a shirt, or if you're selling supplements, right? Maybe whatever, some amino acids, or you're selling a widget, right? Maybe a pocket knife. I'm a knife fanatic, and maybe you're selling a pocket knife for $40, right? Well, if you're selling anything for $40, it's a one-time sale, $40 per unit. You need 2,083 units sold in a month to get there for that $1 million. And if you're selling a $100 product, right, then you need 833 units per month to get to your $1 million. That means you need 833 units sold per month. And if you're selling a $300 product, I don't know, maybe a high-end pair of shoes or something, guess what? You need 278 units sold per month to get to $1 million. So you could do this with subscription. You could do this with a coaching, consulting, speaking service, or you could do this with a product business like an apparel, watches, knives, supplements, right? Where it's a kind of a one-off transactional sale. You can make money in any category. So the question is, how do we do that? How do we get there? So if we know, like, these are the numbers, this is how we get to $1 million. We know what we need to make in a month, in a week, and per day to get to $1 million. We know that we can't have limiting beliefs and all this shit that ends up getting in our way and clogging up our ability to make the money. We know that we've got to be focused and disciplined and consistent, and we've got to do the work, right? But how do we get there, assuming that we have the product and the value to add to the world? We have the desire, we have the work ethic and the discipline and the focus and the consistency, and we don't have the limiting beliefs to block us and stop us from getting there. Well, thing number one, you have to build your personal brand, right? Your personal brand is very important to make. You have to have a brand for yourself. You have to have a brand for your product. Think about this. I have a personal brand, and my personal brand has a much larger audience. Doesn't matter if it's on Spotify or YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, than all my companies. All my companies have social media as well, but the following, the audience, is not as big as my personal brand. Your personal brand, assuming that you're interesting and that you have good product or service knowledge, right? You are a subject matter expert and you know how to articulate and educate and deliver and show up consistently through great content, audio, video, the written words, right? You will start building an audience because people will go, I'm interested in his or her product. I think they're pretty interesting. They're very knowledgeable. They're charismatic or witty or whatever. right? Very scientific and formal. Doesn't matter how you are. If you're like, well, I'm not charismatic, I'm not witty. You don't have to be. You don't have to be. However you are, you can attract an audience. You just have to be consistent. You have to be focused. You have to put out the content, and the content has to be solid. But no one says you have to be some high level of charisma and humor and charm just to build an audience. You don't. Untrue. There's plenty of boring people who are subject matter experts that have massive followings. So knowing that, you got to build your personal brand and you got to build your product's brand, right, on social media. So once you've done that, now you're trusted and people buy from people that they know, like, and trust. Well, if you got that audience by putting out great content that serves humanity, that serves your industry, then what do? Well, we need to move that to a funnel, to a top of the funnel, right? You might do that through paid ads. You might do that through call to actions within your content that you're putting out. You might do that through affiliates. In other words, other people who have your audience and they are willing to take a commission to promote your product or service, right? But you also need a sales system. And a sales system could be they go directly to the website and buy, right? Like Drew and Joey and the team at Fuel Hunt, they're not talking to people on the phone and saying, what size shirt do you want? And okay, got it, taking an order on the phone, right? Here at Truly, my team's not getting on the phone and saying, all right, well, your wellness shot, what's the address, and writing it down. Like, you go to a website, and the website is designed to give you all the information you need for you to make that buying decision so that you can make the decision, put in your address, put in payment information, and voila, the product's on its way. Simple as that. But if it's a higher ticket product, then you might have to have a different sales process. Sales process might take place in the DMs, conversion conversations, right? Texting back and forth via DM until you send them a payment link and they pay. Or it might be one of those things where you get them on a call or you get them in a Zoom where you're face-to-face with them. Or maybe if you're like a pool service, like I've got a coaching client, Purple Heart Pools, out of Florida, Jacksonville, Florida. Shout out to Chad. Hey man, pool cleaning service. One of the best ways to grow pool cleaning service is to go door to door, right? Or my client that owns a fucking $55 million solar panel installation business. He has door knockers going door to door doing sales, right? So the sales process could be on the website, could be in the DMs, could be on a phone, could be via Zoom, could be face-to-face. It doesn't matter. But you need a systematized sales process. You can't just wing it, right? And you have to constantly be working to improve that sales process. Because remember, you have daily, weekly, monthly numbers to hit. These are KPIs. Without hitting these KPIs, you'll never be able to achieve the numbers. KPIs are key performance indicators. And so now you know, like, all right, I need a personal brand. I need a product, social media. People need to trust me so that they will buy from me. My product needs to deliver on the value. I need to be a subject matter expert. I might run paid ads. I might have affiliates. I might have a website that converts, or DMs or calls or face-to-face or whatever, right? But what else do you need? Well, if you want to scale this thing bigger, you need people and processes. Remember I said, how do you go from $1 million to 10 million or 10 million to 100 million? It's a byproduct of leadership. And a great leader attracts great people. And great people help execute on the processes that you've created. Now you're cloning yourself through the people, the employees, the team that you've hired. So to scale from 1 million to 10 million, you have to develop your leadership muscles so that you can have other people come on board. And those people run the processes that sell the product, which is why I always say there's only 3 big factors to the success of any business: the product, the quality of the product, the people, which is the quality of the people and their ability to execute, and then the processes. How dialed in and detailed are the processes that are going to produce the outcome? And if you have a great product, great people, great processes, boom, you're making the monies. You're changing lives. You're serving humanity, right? So that is how you get from 1 million to 10 million. Great leadership that attracts the right people who execute on the processes. Simple as that. This is why leadership is so undervalued. It's undervalued because you can be self-motivated to get from 0 to 100,000 or 200,000. But then as you start hiring people and you're a poor leader, you start hiring shitty people, or you don't train them well, or you don't communicate well, or you don't cast a vision well, which we're going to talk about here in a second. And all of a sudden your people are like, you know what, I'm out. Or you're like, you know what, they're not executing well, I'm going to fire them. And so you get stuck in this like turnstile of constantly making 150, 200, 300,000 a year. You can't break through to 500,000, let alone $1 million, because the problem was leadership. As an individual, you got there because you were self-motivated and you knew what to do. You hustled. You can't hustle your way to 10 million. You can't hustle your way to 50 million, let alone 100 million. There, you need a great product. You need fucking awesome people, and you need dialed in processes. And that means you've got to be an effective leader, right? So that's how we scale to the 100 milli. So then what do we do to cast a vision, right? If you're like, all right, I like the idea of this, Bedros. However, I'm not sure where to start. Like, I don't even have a business, right? Up until this point, I was talking to all of you that have businesses where you're stuck between somewhere around 100,000 a year to, let's say, 400,000 a year in revenue. Okay, got it. What about those of you that are like, I want to be an entrepreneur, but I don't know what to do? Where do I start? Well, we're going to do what's called vision planning, right? Simple, beautiful, elegant 5-step process. And here it is. So number one, you've got to write out, like, first of all, you got to see it in your head, right? So actually write out is step number 2. Step number 1 is you have to very clearly, with tremendous detail, visualize what it is that you want out of your life. You're like, wait, out of my life? I thought we're talking about my business. Y'all do realize that the name of the game is not to be a business owner. The name of the game is to use your business to build an awesome life. You're not just like, hey, I'm going to go work 18 hours a day in my business and be good at pumping out social media content, running ads and answering DMs and shipping out products and services. And like, no, that's what your people and processes are for. Your goal is to build a vision so big that people buy into it. And if you're going to do that, my friend, then you have to visualize, like, what do you want your life and your business to look like? Be very clear. How many days a week do you want to work? How many hours a day do you want to work? Now, it might not be like that out the gate. You might be working 16 to 20 hours a day for the first few years, and that's normal because you're building the foundation. But eventually, as the money comes in, you reinvest it in getting more people and processes and promotions in place, and that allows you to take it to the next level without you having to hustle and grind all the way through. As my friend Tim Grover says, he says, if you keep grinding and grinding and grinding something down, what ends up happening to it? Well, it turns to dust. And you certainly don't want to just grind yourself to oblivion, right? Turn to dust. So first, you're going to visualize your life very clearly and how you want your business to fund your life, like very clearly, specifics, the type of house you want to live in, where in the country you want to live in, what your monthly expenses will be on everything, what your house will be worth, how much money you want to stock away for the future, what things you're going to invest in, and at what pace you're going to invest in on them, right? If you want to send your kids to private school like I did, or if you want to send them to public school, if you want to have multiple cars, multiple houses, multiple vacations a year, or you want to have one, like be very specific on the vision, number one. Number two, write it down and be specific when you write it down. And it should just be like 1 page big. And when you write it down, print it. Don't just like put it in a journal somewhere. Print it and put it somewhere where you could visually see it every single day. Like put it on your fridge, tape it to a cabinet, put it in a frame and hang it on the wall in the kitchen where you could see it every single day. Because then you do number 3, which is you read it every single morning. You see it and you read it. And what ends up happening is your subconscious mind first goes, man, I'll never be able to achieve this. After a few months of reading that and reading that and reading that, it's like, yeah, okay, this is my life. I could achieve this. This is something I could actually do, right? So you read it every day with conviction, not just 5 days a week and skip it on the weekends. You read it every single day. And then when you do, you have to read it in a way where you visualize it, right? This is step 4. You have to read this thing in a way where you visualize it. So you can't just like read it, but be thinking about something else. The exact house that I live in, I visualize something similar to it. And then one day I found the street that the house that I live in now was on, and it was occupied by others, and it wasn't for sale. So I would start like visualizing myself driving down the driveway. I started looking, and then I started to actually do that. And I would look over the wall and I would see the pool and the big backyard and the guest house and the multi-car garage and the big sprawling house. And I was like, oh shit. And it became one of those things where every day before I would go to the gym, I would go down the street up into the end of the cul-de-sac and then go see that house. Like, I not only visualized it, I visited the property, right? I'm not saying you ought to go do that and end up getting arrested. I'm just telling you what I did. And finally, and this is the part that everybody has a hard time with, but the few, pun intended, who are willing to take the action, the few who are willing to do the work, will align their daily habits, actions, deeds to produce that outcome. In other words, if you're like, well, I want to make this much money, have this kind of house, then what would that guy do that owns that house and makes this kind of money? Well, maybe he would go to sleep at this time. Great, go to sleep at this time. Does that guy drink? No, he doesn't. Then you stop drinking. Does that guy fuck around until like 1 a.m. with video games? No, he doesn't, because he goes to sleep at 10 o'clock so he can wake up at 5 o'clock so he can get after it in life. Okay, then like align yourself with the vision, your daily actions, words, habits, deeds. Everything has to be aligned with the vision. And when you do, over a relatively short period of time, a few years, you can actually manifest through work this desired outcome that you wanted, right? It ain't rocket science. It ain't rocket science at all. And so I hope y'all understand exactly how to get to $1 million and then scale that thing to 10 million and 100 million and beyond, because I want to see all of you win. I want to see you live the life of your dreams. I want to see you donate and give back to the church and the charities and the causes that you believe in, because it feels damn good to be able to support Shriners Children's Hospital like I do, and Toys for Tots, and have all these kids adopted through Compassion International. Like, that feels good for me. Right? Feels good to be able to have this mindset of not having to worry about money. Like, not having to worry about money is a really good thing. Being able to take care of my mom when she was alive and she had dementia, and now being able to take care of my dad and have a live-in, I guess, an assistant or caretaker who speaks Armenian and is able to cook the foods that he's familiar with, right? He's 91 years old. Like, that feels good to be able to do that, pay for that, to be able to take care of the people that I love. And I want you to be able to do that. And you do that through the steps that I described here. And if you're willing to do that, you'll find yourself at that outcome faster than you think. Because if you're like, well, 5 or 10 years is a long time, I want you to understand 5 or 10 years are going to go by anyway. So if it's going to go by and you're going to be 5 or 10 years older anyway, do you want to be there with the desired vision that we just talked about? Or do you want to be there still broke, still struggling, still trying to figure it out? And if you are trying to figure it out, I suggest maybe you work with me, all right? I'd love the opportunity to work with you. If we're a good fit for my Domination Year coaching program, just follow me on Instagram or look at the comment section or description section. I'll put a link to on this video, and you might be a good candidate to become a coaching client. But in the meantime, I want you to go and execute on this. I love you all. And always remember this, that average is the enemy, that success is your responsibility, and change can take place in an instant if you are willing to flip the switch. I'll see you next time.